All right. Okay, can you guys hear me? Okay, good. I'm going to kill you. No. Spiritual principle. I'm Jennifer, and I am an addict. I thank Freedom to Change to allow me to come up here and share my experience, strength, and hope. My clean date is April 10th, 2005. How I generally start when I speak is to talk to you about where I am presently, and then I kind of go into how I got to where I am presently. You know, today, I have a good life. I'm in love. I'm learning how to communicate better. My family trusts me today. They have some respect in me today and some faith. I have some wonderful friendships inside and outside of these programs that I didn't have when I was using. I have a good job. Today, I have courage to take action to change. And it's all because of this program. It's all because of Narcotics Anonymous. I wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for this program. You know, there were times in my recovery I'm like, I don't need this. Well, I do need this. I will always need this in order to stay healthy. So that's where I am today. And so, you know, how did I get there? One thing that I'm going to do is I looked through a couple inserts just for today that were relevant to Courage to Change. And I'm going to read one insert right now and then talk a little bit about where I came from and how I found the courage to change. January 25th, just for today. An added gift. We see it happening among us every day. This miraculous turnabout is evidence of a spiritual awakening. We watch them walk into their first meeting defeated. Their spirits broken. Their suffering is obvious and their desire for help even more apparent. They collect a welcome chip and go back to their seats shaken by the effort. We see them again and they seem a little more comfortable. They found a sponsor and attending meetings every night. They still won't meet our glance, but they nod their heads in recognition as we share. We notice the spark of hope in their eyes, and they smile uncertainly when we encourage them to keep coming back. A few months later, they are standing straight. They learned how to make eye contact. They're working the steps with their sponsor and healing as a result. We listen to them sharing at meetings. We stack chairs with them afterward. A few years later, they're speaking at a convention workshop. They got a wonderful, humorous personality. They smile when they see us. They hug us, and they tell us they could never have done it without us. And they understand when we say, nor could we without you. Just for today, I will find joy in witnessing the recovery of another. So first and foremost, I want to thank everyone in these rooms, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be standing here clean today. I came through these rooms broken. It started at a very early age for me, not feeling as like other people or normal. I was abused when I was young for years. When my parents found out and took me to counseling, how can a little girl maturely, understand what happened to her? And I didn't, and I put mask on, and I put a wall up, and I didn't want to be hurt. Everything stems from being hurt for me, and everything is fear-based for me. And so, I lived a double life growing up, and I was always trying to find things that made me feel better about me, that, something so I could love myself, so I would make good grades. I would try to do all those things, and nothing ever filled me. I remember the first time that I drank, I was probably about 11. My cousins got me drunk. I remember they got a picture of me with a bucket on my head, and I threw up, and I thought that was the greatest time ever. I mean, at that small of an age, I really, really liked it. In high school, I started doing drugs at a very early age. This time I was 14, I'd smoked cocaine. I've pretty much done every single drug there is. Now, I did live a double life. What is it, or who is it? You know who I'm talking about. Who is it? Thank you. That's the kind of life I lived. On the outside, I looked good. I, was popular in high school. I made good grades. But I was always doing drugs. I always had that other side of me, and I was always hurting myself. And, but I didn't think I had a drug problem. In fact, my ex-husband, I felt sorry for him because he was an alcoholic. I didn't understand it because I could control my drug usage. What I know now is that I wasn't using drugs to the extent I was using other things. If I finish college with my, son, I'm successful. If I buy that house, I'm successful. If I get married, I'm successful. If I divorce that a-hole, I am successful, and I will find happiness. Nothing made me happy, and that's when drugs really started becoming a major factor of my life, where I wasn't doing them every other week, and I was doing them every day, and I couldn't quit. I just couldn't quit. And in regards to where Courage of Change comes from, one of the biggest crossroads or spiritual awakenings that I had looking back is, there are times before that I started realizing a few years before I actually asked for help that I might have a problem. In fact, the guy I was dating used to call me a baby addict, and he had to go to some court-ordered thing for alcohol or whatever, and I asked him if I could go along because I had a problem and I wanted to learn about it. And so we would go, and then we'd go get wasted afterwards. And so that happened for a couple of years, and then I would be like, I looked in the yellow pages, and I'm like, okay, cocaine's my problem, so I found CA, and I went to CA, and then after CA, I would go get high, and this lasted for a very long time, so I knew I had a problem. The crossroads for me was when I came home. I don't know, it must have been right after school, 5, I don't know. I was already high. Once I got home, I took a bunch of Ativan so I could come down from the coke, and my son was watching TV, and I smoked out in the garage, and I'm smoking a cigarette, and I'm sitting there, and I'm fighting with this guy that I'm dating because he's cheating on me, and I'm going crazy. I'm bipolar. I'm going manic. And I hang up on him, and I'm sitting there. Hi, Heidi. I'm sitting there, and I'm crying, and I'm thinking to myself, I can remember, this is a spiritual awakening. I can remember, do I really want my life to go down this road? My parents were already talking about taking my son away. I was getting close to being fired, and I said, do I really want to be this person, this crazy, out of control, cannot go a day without using drugs person? And I called my brother, and I said, I need some help. And he came over, and I don't remember much, carried me to the hospital. I went through rehab. And when I went, I really still had the impression that I could find a way to successfully use, but I could work on myself and love myself and be happy, and then, I could be a social user. I really thought that. I didn't think I was going to rehab to never not do drugs again. I just was in so much pain that I wanted to die. And so I went to rehab, and, I was real super excited about it. My parents told me I had to go to meetings, and I was going to CA, and I just really wasn't finding a home there. And I hooked up with someone in rehab, of course, who told me about CAG. And so I came to CAG, and I did find my home with Narcotics Anonymous, and thank God. So there was my first courage to change. And really, looking back at it, I never had – my willpower didn't get me into these rooms. It was the God of my understanding, my higher power. Everything that I have today, I attribute to God and to really following God's will, not mine. When I utilize my will – things go crazy. I get manic. I can't communicate. I yell at my loved ones. And so for me, the simple message of recovery is God. You have to be connected to God. So, that was one of my spiritual awakenings. The other spiritual awakening for me was early in recovery. I had kept going back out, and it got worse, of course, because once you get the message of recovery and you go back out, it's like, fuck it, I'm just going to be really bad. And I did some awful things during that 6 months of going back and in. Now, I kept coming back in because people, you know what, you guys are just like me, and you were staying clean, and I needed to hang around people just like me, and you kept telling me to come back, and I did. I had nowhere else to go once the drugs went out of my body. So I kept coming back, and my sponsor, I would call her and tell her I was going to get high, of course, and it was awful for her. And I called her one day. I was afraid that she was going to fire me, and I really needed her. And she said, Jennifer, I'm not going to fire you. She goes, but you got to understand that every time you go out, you hurt me, and I have to distance myself a little bit. And that was a spiritual awakening for me. I was outside of, it was Osco Drug at the time on 75th and Metcalf, sitting there crying and begging her. and telling her I would never do it again. And that moment, I believe, is when I first started staying clean. Because I needed her in this program more than I needed my drugs at that time, and thank God. And so I started working the steps. And, my first year, you guys, I did all 12 steps. I just did. And I'm glad I did, because it kept me clean. I would go into my now home group Women's Recovery and angry and mean, and of course I didn't like women, and I acted out, and God, I loved chaos. And another spiritual awakening for me was I was sitting in the Women's Recovery Network, and Haywood was sitting across from me, and I'm sure Sarah was there and Heidi was there. I don't know who was there, but I can tell you this. I'm sitting there and I'm happy for the first time, and I'm actually sharing spiritually. I'm not verbally vomiting my horrible existence of a life. And Haywood, she puts up this sign. She goes, "Where is Jennifer? What did you do with her?" And that was a spiritual awakening for me, and that was a time of change for me. These are all times where I took action by working the steps, or sharing with my sponsor, or calling people in my network and praying and doing what I was supposed to do. And that's where it got me to these spiritual awakenings. Another spiritual awakening for me was when I was at No Excuses. I just got done with my 4th step and shared my 5th step with my sponsor, and I was feeling that small. I didn't think it was really going to affect me, but I had no self-esteem whatsoever, and I shared it openly and honestly in that meeting. And everybody shared with me honestly about how they've had issues with self-esteem, and how beautiful I was, and how they loved me, and I'll never forget that moment. It was a turning point, truly, in my program. And those are moments that kept me clean. So how I got there, I mean, truly, I'm a stubborn person, so this program can be extremely hard for me. I don't know if anyone else is stubborn out there, but I am. And, I've had to learn the hard way with a lot of things. This program has been hard. It's simple, but it's hard because I get in the way. My will gets in the way. And so what I've learned is my God has always been there for me. My God showed me Narcotics Anonymous. My God gave me those crossroads. My God gave me those spiritual awakenings. My God gave you guys. This is a we program. I can't do it by myself. And as long as I pray to my God and I ask for His will, not mine, and I think from my heart, not my head, good things happen. And, I'm a miracle today. And I know that if I can stay clean, anybody can stay clean. I was a fool when I walked in these doors. I like chaos. I hung around people that weren't very healthy for me. I was loud and I'm still a little loud, loud and obnoxious, and today I'm a bit kinder, and I don't run as much from my friends anymore, and I've let a few people in. I mean, a lot of you still don't know me very well. I still am guarded somewhat, and that will probably take a while, but I'm open for any type of change. Now, one thing that I'll say about change is it all, for me, stems from fear. I mean, anger, all my character defects, being judgmental. God, I have so many character defects. I could go on forever. But all my character defects, I have realized through working the steps, that's the key to this program, is fear. And I have to walk through that fear in order to change. And I've done a lot of walking through, and, I'm happy today that I have 4.5 years and I can stand up here and talk clean. I don't want to be a newcomer again. I don't. And I just want newcomers to know that, you can have a good life. You can, but you have to walk through the fear and you have to take the action. The suggestions of working the 12 steps, I'm on my 3rd round of working my steps, and they still help me immensely. I'm a little slower at working the steps today. I don't work them as diligently as I did, but I do work them. And I work on different things. I still have addictions that I have to work with. Smoking's one addiction that I still have issues with. Other issues that I have to deal with on a constant basis are communication. I am bipolar, I am manic, and I don't communicate very well. And I don't use it as an excuse, but I'm aware of it, and I'm trying to mend my relationship, especially with my son who's 16. My son I didn't think that he was going to try drugs. His dad's an alcoholic. I'm an addict. We've been in recovery for about the same time. And I just thought that he was so down on us. This is just crazy that I'm thinking this, that he wasn't going to try it. But, he didn't even go to alcohol. He went right to pot, smoking it by the Perry Village police station. I mean, Jesus Christ. Really? The son that told me he would never be stupid like his parents. And, so today I'm clean and I can deal with that today and I can guide him. Now, I don't know where Tyler's going to land. Me and his dad have contributed to a lot of what's going on with him, and I can feel guilty about it, or I can try to be a good mother today, and that's what I'm trying to be. I can set guidelines and boundaries and let him know that it's not all right, and seek the professional help that he needs in order to make wiser decisions. And I have to try to stay in the present. That's another big thing. I start thinking of the future. I already got him down as a big druggie, living on the street, selling dope. I mean, I have to stay in the present. If I don't stay in the present, then I get fair-paced. If I start thinking about the past, I get all depressed. I lay in my bed and I watch Lifetime all day. If I start thinking about the future, I go manic. I go crazy. I have to stay in the present. And how I do that is by praying. So, it's a little bit about my story. It's a little bit about where my courage has come from. It's come from this program. And I wish everybody could get this program, because just the people that I know in it and the blessings that it's giving me, I have a great life. I might moan and bitch and complain every once in a while, but I'm telling you guys, I have... Shut up, Bill. I do. I got a great life. So that's pretty much all I have to say. I'm going to leave on a note of reading something else from Just for Today, because I always think Just for Today. This has been my savior. When I need a little quick fix or I can't do my steps, I read this every day. And then I am going to let the next speaker speak. But here we go. All right. Our newly found faith serves as a firm foundation for courage in the future. Narcotics Anonymous is no place for the faint of heart. Facing life on life's terms without the use of drugs isn't always easy. Recovery requires more than hard work. It requires a liberal dose of courage. What is courage anyway? A quick look at a dictionary will tell us we have courage when we face and deal with anything that we think of as difficult, dangerous, painful, rather than withdrawing from it. Courage means being brave, having a purpose, having spirit. So what is courage really? Courage is an attitude, one of perseverance. That's what an addict in recovery really needs, perseverance. We make that commitment to stick with their program, to avoid using no matter what happens. And courageous addict is one who doesn't use, one day at a time, no matter what. And what gives us courage? A relationship with our higher power. It gives us the strength and the courage to stay clean. We know that so long as we are in our God's care, we will have the power we need to face life on its own terms. Just for today, I have a higher power who cares for me no matter what, knowing that I will strive to have an attitude of courage today. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. You did good. Let's give her a hand one more time. Our next speaker is Saby M. Saby flew in all the way from the Caribbean islands, and I'm going to say a few things about it. I really don't care if the committee fires me. Our paths crossed in 2003 when NA was celebrating 50 years in San Diego, and at that time he was speaking at a workshop called Courage of Conviction. I still remember it, the name. So I don't know what he's going to talk about courage today, but I've never known this close any other NA junkie, and he's been my friend since, and he knows people all over. I mean, before he even got here, people have been asking me about him. So I kind of, feel a little jealous. I live in Kansas City, but seems like he's got more friends than, I can introduce to. So, but, he's the best thing I like about him. He may not, what I think is he may not be very entertaining, but he's really subtle, and he believes in what he does. And, I don't trust a whole lot of people, and I can trust him. With that, I can give him a real good label. But most of all, I'm proud to be his friend. Let's give him a hand.
I'm an addict called Saby. Good to be here. Today in recovery, I always say it's good to be anywhere clean. It's really good to be here, and I also want to thank Freedom to Change for giving me this opportunity to be of service. That's a powerful theme of the convention you guys have, Freedom to Change. That's all that our program is about. Today, just for today, I am free to be me. And thank you, Jennifer. You did a fantastic job. I don't even know what else to add. You just covered it all. Like you said, well, I was also manic depressive. When I was on drugs, I was manic. When I ran out of drugs, I got depressed. And that happened all the time. And I had figured it all out. Even after coming to Narcotics Anonymous, I loved everything. I loved to be with addicts because you guys spoke like me, looked like me, but you had something going on which I wanted. But you had like all these other preconditions. You said you have to work the steps, and you had and there's God written all over the place, which I was not very comfortable with. So I wanted to do it on my terms. Maybe some of you can identify with that. I just wanted to do it my way. So I thought, what I'm going to do? I'm going to keep on coming to this fellowship till you guys are going to teach me how to use successfully, because I wanted to become a successful addict. Well, I just want to share a little bit about how I found the Fellowship of Narcotics Anonymous. It goes way back in 1986. I would love to say that my first introduction to Narcotics Anonymous I never used since, but it did not quite happen that way. I grew up in India, and I used my drugs there. I was looking for my connection. I was going through my withdrawals real bad, and I was looking for my connection, and I met this guy on the street, and he used to be with us all the time. He used to be we call those places dens or addas, or what you guys probably call shooting galleries here, something like that. He was there all the time, 24/7, and we used to just we had those silent communication, that silent language of junk. What's happening. So everything fine, good, and this guy, he recognized me, I did not, and he looked good. He had some weight on, he had cheeks had become rosy, and he had a little pot belly, and he got it going on, and he recognized me, and the first thing I looked, he said, "Hey, Sabi, what's going on?" I said, wow, Jitu, it was so good to see you, so you have something on you. And he told me something that totally blew me away. He said he has stopped using drugs. Well, for drugs, I meant that particular drug which I thought had made my life unmanageable. I said, okay, maybe you can, we can go out to drink, or I don't know what I said, or use some hashish or something, He said, no, I go to these narcotics meetings, and, and I don't do drugs. So I got interested. And even as an addict, I was really curious. I remember before I found narcotics, or just after I found Narcotics Anonymous, in India, they had this International Congress for Drug Abuse. That people, all these professionals had come from all over the world, treatments and all. Treatment center people and everybody, and I was curious, and I wanted to check it out, what these guys wanted to do. I was curious about everything that had to do with excuse me, drugs and addiction. So I wanted to check out this. He said he goes to these narcotics meetings, and these are anonymous meetings. That is absolutely perfect. I'll go to these narcotics meetings, and the anonymous. So it will be sort of a shady society where addicts will teach each other how to use successfully, And I'm fortunate to say, and still the God that I still do not understand brought me to the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. I found the message of hope on the streets of Bombay, India. And that time, today the population of India is more than 1.13 billion people, That's 4 times, 5 times the population of United States and much smaller country. Like Bombay, I was reading, I think 2 days ago, the population of Bombay itself is like 16 million. That's the population probably of Australia, the whole continent. You know. At that time, there were just 2 groups in the entire country. In the entire country, there was just 2 groups. And I walk into the street and this guy gives me the message of hope. And I find my first Narcotics Anonymous meeting. I consider myself a NA baby. I kicked dope right here in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. I did not go to any treatment center. It is possible, like I did it. For me, it was possible. I just kicked dope right there. For a long time, I tried to do it my way, my way. I did not believe in all this stuff, the God thing. And somebody told me, just keep it simple. If you do not believe in God, just believe that we believe in something. Believe in that. Some told me okay, believe in, you guys must have heard it, good orderly direction. Anything that gives you good orderly direction, make that your God, It does not have to be a form. It did not have to be very elaborate. Whatever works for you. The best definition I heard about God is a group of dope fiends helping each other stay clean. That works for me, Like we help each other stay clean. So, slowly, the change started happening. I was not clean yet. It was just before staying clean. But I was coming to meetings and sitting there, maybe using with guys after the meeting. Did all the stuff that I'm not supposed to do. Using in the bathrooms or the meeting places, which I'm not very proud of confessing. But I did what I did, and you guys loved me till I learned to love myself. You guys accepted me. You guys like that unconditional love. That is the thing that I love about Narcotics Anonymous. We are there for each other. We take turn in saving each other's lives. That's what we do here. And so slowly, I kept coming to the meetings, and then finally, I made that choice, that surrender. I had a sponsor used to say there's no substitute for surrender. All my life I was looking for that alternate. Maybe there's something else that is there which I can hold on to. But it's so simple. And my friend Jennifer said, it's a program is simple. It can sound difficult at times, but it is simple. What I just needed to do is just let go, just surrender. Just believe in the process. Just believe that you guys can do it. All my life I thought what I wanted to do in my program, I wanted to party hard on Friday, cold turkey on Saturday and Sunday, and stop using for Monday for the rest of my life. You guys told me something so simple. It did not make sense then. Still it did not make sense. But if I keep on doing what you guys told me to do, on 19th of January this year, I'll celebrate 18 years clean in Narcotics Anonymous. You guys told me, just for today, Sabi, just for today you don't use. Just for today you don't use, you never have to use again. Just for today I have that courage to not use. Just for today I don't have to use again. It was as simple. So first thing that happened is I let go of my drugs. That surrender. And I distinctly remember the meeting where I surrendered. And it was the morning after, it was a very, very special, funny feeling. I was free. I was absolutely free. I did not have to deal with anything. You guys told me if you cannot handle 24 hours, just don't use no matter what from one meeting to the next meeting. Don't use no matter what for the next 1 hour. Don't use no matter what for the next 5 minutes. I really enjoyed last night's speaker. And he said some people say, like using is always an option. Using is probably an option, but it is not the only option. Previously, that was the only option. I did not have a choice. Today, we all have a choice. I choose not to use. I choose to live. Maybe using is option 101. Before using, I can do many things. I can reach out to you. I can call people. I read my basic text. Read my just for today. I can do some writing. Do some meditating. I can do some other activity which is going to divert myself from my using. I can do so many things. That is not the only option. Today I have that freedom to change. Today I have that courage to change. And that courage does not come easily for us addicts. Wasn't that somebody said, like, whenever we change, we see that claw mark all over the place, Because we are resistant to change. That is another good definition of addicts. We are very resistant to change. I don't like to change. My sponsor, my late sponsor, passed on about 10 years ago, but he still he helps me in my recovery every day. I've learned so much from him. He had a very beautiful definition about what we talk about insanity in our second step. Our basic text, how does it define insanity? It defines insanity. Insanity is making the same mistakes again and again, expecting different results. What he used to say? He used to say that is a very good definition of denial. Insanity is little more pronounced than that, and I identify with that brand of insanity. He used to say insanity is making the same mistakes again and again, knowing what the results are going to be, but doing it anyway. And that's scary. Today, with almost 18 years clean, the insanity I deal with my life today are different with insanity when I was using. But insanity is insanity. Anything that is detrimental for my recovery, for my spiritual growth, my personal growth, and anything which is detrimental to my health, anything which is detrimental to my relationship with you, I think all of this is insanity. If today what I'm dealing with, high blood pressure, a simple example, high blood pressure runs in my family, hypertension. So I'm also hypertension. I take medication for hypertension, high blood pressure medicine. And I know some of the things that I need to do for a healthier, better life. Well, we all know it. That's what our mama told us. Eat right. Sleep enough. Simple things. Eat right, sleep enough. Do some exercise. Try to lose weight. But that insanity tells me, that is another hallmark of an addict. I cannot do anything. There's a line in the basic text, I forget, on a constant basis. I'll do everything right for today. And I really want to congratulate all of you, like on 1st January, Happy New Year, by the way. And on 1st January, so many of us are here for this workshop at 9 a.m. in the morning. I could never imagine myself, like, what would I have been doing if I was not actually sharing at this workshop, I don't know. Well, I would love to think that I would have been right here and, listening to somebody else who was sharing at this workshop. But I don't know, I don't know. And so I really want to congratulate you. You're doing something which is very special for your recovery. Happy New Year, Happy New Decade, Happy New Day. And you're doing something right for your recovery. We are all doing something right for our recovery by being here right now and by not using just for today. My sponsor used to say, I always keep on quoting my sponsor because he has helped me so much. He was talking about that handy-dandy one-step program. He used to say, don't use no matter what, even if your ass falls off. If it falls off, pick it up and bring it to a meeting. We'll put it back for you. That's the bottom line, you know. That's the bottom line. Just don't use no matter what, and everything else is going to follow. Everything else is good stuff. All the stuff you guys told me about working the steps, having a sponsor, believing in a God, you know. And he also used to say, like, look at your life today. Today I need to look at my life, how I am leading my life today. He used to keep it really simple. He used to say, if you don't like the way you live, change the way you live. As simple as that. I need to look at my life today. Do I like the way I live today? If I don't like the way I live, I need to find ways and means of changing the way I live. I have a very exciting history with Narcotics Anonymous. My first 4 years in recovery, I was in India. And then I got to come to this wonderful country to get my higher education, because that was also a big change for me. Because I was a dropout, they threw me out of school. You know, and here I got the appropriate degrees. Then I moved to Canada, and I've been a wanderer, and I have got that thirst for more. I'm an addict, remember? I want more. And that also means more recovery. When I was in India, I wanted to go to that, like, land of recovery in the United States, where, like, everything, the convention every week, there are all those, like, gurus of recovery, and I had to check it out. I had to see it for myself, because there is another thing about the addiction thing in me. I had to see it myself. What you guys told me did not matter. I had to experience it. I had to see it, and I did see a lot of wonderful things. I met a lot of wonderful people who bet their life on Narcotics Anonymous, who walk the walk. The sponsor used to say, don't tell me how good your program is. Show me by the way you live. How am I living my life today? You must have said a lot of good stuff about me, but I'm not a hotshot of NA. I'm just an addict, just a meeting, you know. Check out how I live my life outside the room. I can say a lot of good stuff right here, but how am I living my life today? That is more important. Do I walk the walk, or just talk the talk? I remember a speaker a few years ago, and I loved it. I still remember it. This guy said, you know who a big shot of? Well, in Narcotics Anonymous, we say there are no big shots in NA. You know, there are no big shots, no little shot. One shot, and we all shot. You know? There are no big shots. But he said, you know who a big shot in NA is? A big shot will fly 5,000 miles to be the banquet speaker at a convention, but won't take a newcomer out for coffee. It still gives me chills to think about that. I don't want to be a big shot in NA, you know. I'm just a simple person. Try to do the best I can. Try to do the best I can. That's all. And also my sponsor told me, sometimes I used to get like upset with people. They're not doing it right. Or somebody used to upset me. He told me something which was so spiritual. He said, have you thought about it, Saby? Maybe it is he or she is doing the best he can. Maybe he's not there yet. Why do I try to compare my insights with where I am today with where somebody else is today? Give that person a chance. Give that person a chance. Let that person grow. And because if I remember the craziness that I did inside and outside the room, you know, so who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? Give everybody their time. You know, so, yeah, I was talking about something else. I get carried away at times. So we said, so after US, I moved to Canada. I was there for like 5 years. And then all this time I was formed that 2 meetings in the entire country. Now the fellowship has grown and they are fighting, and that's good, you know. How do you have a new meeting? You know, like you have resentment in a coffee pot and you have a new meeting, right? So that's how it grows. So, well, now we have 2 regions in India, and like, so we are separated. Like now we had Bombay, they had like 2, the South Bombay and Bombay area and South Bombay area. Bombay area won't call themselves North Bombay area because Bombay area was the first area of NA in India, right? So it will be Bombay area and the other one is like South Bombay area. So they're not. So that's how like we kept on growing. And now after that, for the past year, a little more than a year, I'm in a way in a geographical isolation. I live in a little island, a small island in the Caribbean. And for some of you, it's absolutely wonderful. It is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. But that all there is there. It is beautiful, period. But nothing else. It can be very isolated. It's beautiful, that's it. It's wonderful for a vacation. Maybe six weeks, maybe 6 days. It's wonderful. But beyond that, and unfortunately, there is no Narcotics Anonymous. You know? And I bet my life on Narcotics Anonymous. I don't go to any other 12-step fellowship. I don't even want to try, you know. And maybe that's why God has put me there. Maybe at some point I'm going to carry the message of hope to the addicts out there. And there are addicts everywhere, you know, like there's a lot of stuff going on in the island. And I'm really, really grateful to people who are helping me in my recovery today. And it's a real different dimension. And my current home group member, Andy, he is here with us now. And we make a meeting on the phone. That has saved my life. It's called the Bridge Group. The meeting, we meet like every day of the week. And during the day I'm working, so I can make most Saturdays and Sunday meeting. For me, Sunday, like my time zone is midnight to 1 o'clock. We have a Narcotics Anonymous meeting. Old-fashioned Narcotics Anonymous meeting, no bullshit meeting. And 20 or 30 addicts, we all come together over the phone, over a conference call called the Bridge Group. And that is another exciting thing in my recovery. And there's it's in a way, it's a reaching out effort, you call it, or it is a revolution of its own. It's a different dimension. And I get to meet addicts from all over the United States. 3 weeks ago, well, how I found that meeting, my good friend Joe M., he was sick in the hospital, so some addicts decided to bring the meeting to him. So that's how the phone meeting started. And Joe knew I was in isolation. He contacted me, asked me, like, why don't you check this out, you know? And I checked that out, and it was an awesome meeting. My friend Andy, I'm meeting Andy for the first time yesterday, but we know each other. That is the absolutely miracle of Narcotics Anonymous. Anywhere in the world I go, I'm not alone. And it also means for me today, never alone, never again. I'm not alone. Anywhere in the world I go, I'm connected. It's absolutely fantastic. My good friend Iggy, I just met him once at the World Convention 6 years ago. The second time I met Iggy was yesterday, after my 30 hours flight from Bombay, India. That's where I was for meeting my parents. I got back from my plane at like 10:30 in the morning, and Iggy took me right to CAG group. You know, and I'd heard a lot about that group, and I wanted to check it out. You remember, always wanted to check it out, see it out for myself that it's real. And after that, I came to the convention. I took a little nap, and I'm feeling okay now. You know, like I'm not jet lagged as I was yesterday. I was a little funny. Sometimes I was very excited. Those manic depressive, I told you, you know, I was, but it's not about drugs now, you know. But I still get a little manic depressive. Maybe there's something out there. So, and I always wanted to attend a New Year's Eve convention. To the best of my knowledge, what I knew, there's one New Year's Eve convention in Bergen County in New Jersey that I know of, and this is the second one. I haven't done the other one yet. Maybe at some point of recovery I'll do that, but this is exciting. You guys are doing a fantastic job. It's so refreshing that you start your new year with recovery. getting things in proper perspective. And I'm now like really charged. Like I go back to the island on just after the Sunday morning speaker meeting, and but I know I'm not alone, I'll be like meeting a lot of you guys over the weekend, making new friends, new connections. So I'm connected today, and it's a wonderful journey. It's absolutely fantastic, and I love you all, and I want to thank you.